The Galactic Council chambers were vast and imposing, filled with representatives from hundreds of species scattered across the universe. Most of them had long ago abandoned physical displays of power, favoring diplomacy, commerce, and cultural exchanges to resolve disputes. The humans, relatively new to the Council, had been an anomaly from the start, fierce, adaptable, and with a sharp tongue that could slice through the most carefully crafted political rhetoric. It had started as a border dispute. The Kryth, a predatory, expansionist species known for their towering forms and brutal military efficiency, had encroached on the outer territories of human space. Diplomatic protests were filed, meetings were held, and then, as was often the Kryth way, they launched an unprovoked attack on a fledgling human colony. The Kryth delegate stood now in the center of the chamber, flanked by a dozen towering bodyguards. His mandibles clicked in satisfaction as he addressed the assembly. The humans have proven themselves unworthy of their place among us. Their weakness is evident. Their worlds will be better off under Kryth stewardship. The human representative, Ambassador Elaine Cross, rose slowly from her seat. She was a small woman compared to the Kryth, barely reaching their shoulders even with the Council's amplification platforms. Her calm demeanor belied the storm brewing behind her eyes. Ambassador Kryth, she began, her voice carrying effortlessly through the chamber. Your unprovoked aggression, your slaughter of innocents, and your arrogance have been noted. Humanity came here seeking peace, to learn and to grow alongside the other species of this galaxy. But you have chosen to test us? The Kryth ambassador sneered, his mandibles clicking in what his species considered a mocking laugh. Test? You mistake this for a test. It is an inevitability. Your kind is fragile, primitive. You are an inconvenience to be removed. Elaine's lips curved into a small, cold smile. She reached in her pocket and withdrew a small device, pressing a button. A holographic projection filled the chamber, showing images of Kryth warships ablaze. Human fleets moving with a precision and ferocity that left even seasoned council members silent. The Kryth's assault on the colony had not gone unanswered. You may have assumed we were weak because we value peace, she said, her voice growing sharper. Because we sought allies instead of vassals. Because we spoke softly in these chambers. But you have made a grave mistake. You assumed that humanity's restraint was born of fear. The images shifted, showing Kryth ground forces routed by human soldiers and exosuits, their advanced weaponry and unconventional tactics overwhelming the larger Kryth forces. Restraint, she continued, is not fear. It is wisdom. But wisdom has its limits. And when wisdom fails, we are left with only one recourse. She deactivated the hologram and stepped forward, locking eyes with Kryth. Since you chose war, she said, her voice dropping to an icy whisper that carried through the stunned silence. Let us show you how it's done. The chamber erupted in murmurs, but Elaine paid them no mind. She turned on her heel and strode out, flanked by her aides. Behind her, the council began deliberations, but it was already clear. The Kryth had awoken a force they did not understand. What followed was a masterclass in human warfare. The Kryth's fleets, though vast and powerful, were no match for the ingenuity and adaptability of the human forces. Human engineers reprogrammed captured Kryth drones to turn on their masters. Their scientists devised countermeasures for Kryth bioweapons in record time. And their soldiers, fueled by the knowledge of what was at stake, fought with a tenacity that bordered on feral. But it wasn't just their weapons and tactics that broke the Kryth. It was humanity's sheer unpredictability. The Kryth, bound by their rigid hierarchies and doctrines, couldn't comprehend a species that thrived on chaos. They couldn't predict a fleet commander who would risk everything on a daring gambit and win. They couldn't anticipate a civilian resistance that turned their occupied territories into death traps. And they certainly couldn't understand a species that, when pushed to the brink, didn't break. It evolved. Within a year, the Kryth's expansionist ambitions lay in ruins. Their fleets were scattered, their homeworld blockaded, and their leadership brought before the Galactic Council in chains. Ambassador Cross stood once again in the chamber, addressing a much quieter assembly. "Let this serve as a reminder," she said, her gaze sweeping the gathered representatives. "Humanity desires peace. We value cooperation and mutual respect. But if you threaten our survival, if you harm our people, know this: we will not stop. We will not falter. And we will not forgive." The council chambers were silent as Elaine stepped down, her words hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as something far more dangerous, a species that sought peace, but was unmatched in war.